Hi! Today we'll be talking about storage for artists. I'm going to share my current favorite solutions. Most of them are far from optimal or perfectly visually and aesthetically pleasing, but they work for the most part. It's always a work in progress. If you're new here, hi, welcome. My name is Irit. I'm a watercolor and mixed media artist based in Austria in Europe, and on my channel I share my artsy adventures. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. It really helps showing my videos to new people. Also, I would love to read what is your current favorite storage or organization solution for your art supply. I got a DM from an artist on Instagram and she showed me a picture of a lipstick organizer that she uses for her watercolors, and it was beautiful. And it was a beautiful thing. What do all of these tins have in common? Well, none of them house the actual art supplies that came in them. And this is another one of my tips and suggestions for you, which is to find a container that works for your current needs. So for example, this tin housed the Caran d'Ache gouache, which have now moved to this tin that used to contain some Neocolor from Caran d'Ache. The Neocolors have moved to this tin that used to house these Derwent drawing pencils. I removed the inside piece of plastic that came here that held the pens, that held these ones. There was like a lot of unused space, and now I'm currently using it for these curated palettes that I did for a couple of months in the Joy Art Club. As you can see, these have markers and oil pastels and neocolors and pencils, so a mixture of mediums. And it's actually a great size for that particular purpose. And here I have, this is actually a tin that comes from the Tim Holtz Distress line, and now they house these Daniel Smith watercolor sticks. It's really nice because you can see what's inside. I actually used this tin to house my Neocolors, and it worked really well because it's so small and easy to move around. But after getting all the new colors, I outgrew this one, and so I moved here. The point is that you should really update your systems as your supplies grow or your preferences change. Another storage solution that has worked really well for me is this thing. Now this is made of solid wood, and it was a bit more of an investment, but I think especially if you use materials that need a long time to dry, so for example oils, having such a thing is just such a gift because you can put away paintings to dry and they can live here for weeks until they can move to a more permanent storage solution. So it comes with these, and you don't have to use all of them, so you can kind of adjust the height between. You see there are like these notches here, so you can adjust that, but it's very convenient. I try to have a permanent home for everything. So this is where my water bucket lives, and then when I use it, which is a lot, it will move to my table. But for example, if I'm painting with oils, then I don't need that water bucket. I have either a dedicated jar of dirty water right now for water soluble oils, and then I have some mediums here. The point is that it also has this very handy storage area, so you could definitely store some of your oils, for example, to live on top of the drying racks. Here, for example, I have this little play piece drying, and I don't have to worry about things falling into it or it like becoming a huge mess because I can't be trusted. I'm quite what's the word? Clumsy. Before I get a gazillion comments like I did the last time I talked about IKEA. So here's the thing. In the US, and I think Canada, you pronounce it IKEA. In Europe, we call it, at least in Austria and in Sweden, where IKEA is from, we say IKEA. And so even though I'm speaking English, so in theory, it would be okay to use the way that Americans pronounce it in English. It's just so ingrained in my brain to call it IKEA because that's how we call it here. So don't come at me at the comments, please. Thank you. So this is the Alex drawer unit from IKEA. They have a few, but this one is the one with the wide drawers. I know that the cheaper IKEA, not that this is cheap, but compared to this kind of furniture in real wood or metal, it is quite affordable. I know that a lot of like the MDF type of furniture from IKEA is not high quality, but for some of us, it is the only thing that our budget allows for. Just to give you an idea, like this thing cost me, true years ago, the price has risen since, it cost me probably half of what that drying rack cost me when I was able to invest a little bit more on my studio gear. And so I fully recognize the need for some pieces that are just a little bit more unique and I think fit artists' needs, but are still, you know, mass produced, not the most amazing quality. So we can chat about it, we can discuss it. Personally, I can just say that I have had this for years. I debated whether to buy it for years, and I really wish I had just done it sooner. It houses my tube paints, it houses some of my watercolor palettes, a lot of my papers, and it's really easy to also roll around the room, so it's on wheels. It is still one of my favorite, most used storage pieces that I feel really serve artists well, or at least this artist. Before we go on, I want to take a minute to say thank you to today's sponsor, which is me, and the Joy Art Club, my monthly membership, where we now have over 130, I'm so excited, friendly fellow creatives. Some of them prefer to quietly roam the membership, and then others love to share their thoughts, inspiration, and of course, paintings. And I just want to say that hopefully this video will go up on Friday, August 8th. And tomorrow, the registration will be closing for the next 3 months because we're going to do a deep dive all about color, which you know is my favorite topic. For example, I buy cute cans because they are pink and cute. We will be exploring this month mostly primary triads and playing around with that in multiple mediums. Then next month we're going to dive deeper into all kinds of different color theories and strategies, mostly in our sketchbook. And then in October, we're going to be talking about master color palettes inspired by Paris, the Impressionists, and the Fauvists. If any of that sounds interesting to you, it's only €9 a month, and you can join today and get already the August content and join the community. I hope you will join us. Otherwise, I'll see you here on YouTube or in November when I reopen registration. Now, this is a very small and very specific storage solution, but it is one that I really enjoyed and one that helped me get the most use out of my Japanese watercolors. So if you're not familiar, there are some brands like Gansai Tambi that offer their paints in this format, these large pans. These are really wonderful to use and I love them a lot. But for a long time, they lived in the boxes that they come in, which are usually very beautiful, but they take a lot of real estate. They're just not as easy to pull out and grab and use. So I found this shop in, I think they're in Canada, if memory serves me. I will put the link below if I can find it, but they 3D print these containers, and you can buy as many stacks as you want. They don't like click together, but they do stack. That's why I have this band to keep them together. So each one of these stacks houses 12 of these mega huge pans, and you can create, you know, color stories, arrange it by color. I think I have 3 sets of these that are fairly large. And so having this kind of setup really helped me get the most use out of my Japanese watercolors. And so I love this system, and I'm really appreciative when people come up with these kinds of solutions, especially where it's like a small shop. One of my biggest challenges as a mixed media artist that loves to see everything she has and have everything within arm's reach is storage. Every system has its advantages and disadvantages. On one hand, having things out in the open means that I can see what I have and I can very easily reach for them, but that usually means a more cluttered, busy situation. Having closed storage, like these beautiful metal cupboards, means that everything is sleek and cleaner. Sometimes that visual clutter also causes anxiety and overwhelm. But if I put things behind doors, sometimes I forget they exist, or I'm just not aware of what I have. So a lot of my storage and organization systems are the Goldilocks of it all. Having supplies be easy to see and reach for, but also constantly curating them so that I'm not overwhelmed, but I still have access to all of the materials that inspire me and that I'm in love with at the moment. So for example, here I have my tin of Neocolor 2s. I have all of the colors that I'm currently in love with, but I have the extra ones, the ones that I don't want to use daily, in a different place that is not visually available to me. And that helps me keep down the overwhelm. And it also helps decision fatigue because I don't have here colors that I'm not loving right now. Obviously, this is a process and you continually want to curate your color stories and palettes so that they fit your aesthetics. These systems that I talk about, not everyone needs them, not everyone uses them, but I really found that for me, they help me balance those two worlds, wanting things available and then having too much clutter and too much stuff. Here, for example, I have my little IKEA trolley, and you can see that the top, I know this doesn't look very organized, but it does have a system, and the system works well for me. So the first thing is that this is one supply. This is just acrylic paints. They are stored on this trolley, which means I can roll it close to me wherever I am, whether I'm at my desk or if I'm sitting next to my easels. So that makes it very handy. Now, the colors are arranged more or less in rainbow order. So we have like the yellows and whites here, then we have the pinks and the oranges, the blues, and then the greens and the turquoises. And this again just helps my brain process all of this. I have many, many more acrylic paints, but these are the ones that I'm currently loving, and I'm actually sure that I could probably narrow it down a little more. And once things are getting like now, you can see it's like bursting at the seams. There's no extra space for anything. So that means it's probably time to do a little swatching, a little painting, or just remember which of these I haven't used in a long time. And that means that they can go live in another area here where I have more acrylic paints. They're still organized by color, but they are slightly less available to me. And so there is no digging through boxes and boxes of things. It's still very easy to reach for, but it's still a little bit further and out of sight. It's not in prime real estate, which is this. This is prime real estate. My desk area is prime real estate. So everything that I can reach for, it's prime real estate. And I want that to house really only the materials that I'm truly, truly excited about at this time. Here is a little relatively inexpensive storage solution that I found for my artwork. I keep them in these really kind of heavy duty, very nice large boxes from IKEA. It works well because I already have piles and piles of paintings that I should probably talk about more or show people. So maybe someone will buy them. But for now, they live here. I want to take a minute to talk about this storage system, which is still, in my opinion, one of the most versatile and affordable, albeit less aesthetically pleasing storage systems that I think will fit most budgets. And what I'm talking about is that combination of Kallax from IKEA and the Samla boxes. And there are a couple of different sizes. There's the smaller size, which then you can stack two of them. And then they're like the larger size, which fits comfortably one of them. Mine are mostly labeled, and it's just a very, very cost-effective way of storing your supplies. If you choose the clear boxes, then you can see what is in them. Now, I will say this is not prime real estate, and these are not the supplies that I currently want to have quickly on hand. So this is like my second tier or third tier storage. Like I'll have some acrylics, but you already saw the other places that have my acrylic paints a lot more reachable. I have some watercolors, but most of my tubes that I'm currently into and the palettes that I like to use are stored in the Alex drawer unit. This is definitely a good system, but I don't want to dig into cluttered boxes daily. But yeah, it's a very good system. Ideally, I hope to upgrade from this just because it is too cluttered, and I really would like a more polished look, especially since I spend so much of my time here and I film so much that I would really love to have kind of a more aesthetically pleasing studio for filming. But for practicality and budget, this is an excellent, excellent solution. I also want to mention this cart from IKEA. These come in a couple of different sizes and a few different heights. I have this one, the narrow 3-tier one. I think this is, you can find it in the bathroom section. They are very, very inexpensive. It's all plastic. They come together super fast. So assembly is very, very simple. And I just find that it is a very cost-effective solution. Unlike the Raskog, which I love, and it's like metal and it's just, you know, just feels a lot nicer. This one I find is actually easier to reach for the second and third compartment. In the Raskog, it's sometimes harder to get into things. And so I can very easily reach also this things here and things at the bottom easier than in the Raskog. And here I have my acrylic inks and fluid acrylics and my trusty water bottle sprayer thing. This works well. The wheels, they kind of just move backward and forward and not to the sides. So you have to, I think ideally this is supposed to be like when you have a narrow space between, let's say, like a wall and a piece of furniture, you can just like slide it in, but it doesn't move freely. I just want to mention that I don't think it's a deal breaker. As I said, this is super affordable. You know, you can get a bunch of them and dedicate each one to a different medium, or have one for sketching, or have one for like kids crafts. I like it. Again, it's not the most aesthetically pleasing one, but it does what it's supposed to do for a very low price point. It's a good option, and you know, I have it here and I still use it all the time, and I have a couple of other options like this one behind it, and I still really like this one. The fact that the top also has like a compartment, unlike some of these type of carts, makes it really perfect for art supplies. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you hopefully next week. Nothing is set in stone because it is the summer vacation, and my kids had different ideas about how we should be spending them. Not mommy makes videos for YouTube, but hopefully. So thanks for watching. Have a great weekend, and I hope to see you in the Joy Art Club.